Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today is Christmas in July, day 25. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. This year for Christmas in July, I have been sharing my stories as a brand new medical coder and some of my own personal stories as well. So I hope you all have enjoyed the series, as today is the wrap. This is the last episode of this series. So again, I hope you all have enjoyed it. And I will leave the playlist in the description box below, so that way you can check out any episodes you may have missed. So let's get into the last episode. This last episode would be the advice I would give myself as a brand new medical coder. If I could go back to 2008 and tell myself, Blue, you're on the right path, I would. Because at that time, you think, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right way to go? I'm getting a lot of rejection. Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Yes, it is. This is absolutely what you're supposed to be doing. And I would also advise that there's going to be times when you're going to fall and it's going to hurt on the way down. But getting right back up is the thing that you have to do. That was the one thing that I didn't let myself get so wrapped up on, was the failure part. I didn't want to fail. Nobody wants to fail, but I didn't give myself that option either. So I would say that I did right in that part. There's a lot of things that are going to happen in this career field to you. And some of it you're going to take personally. Some of it you're going to take as a growing experience. Some people you're going to meet in your journey. There's that saying, right? There's some people that you meet for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. There's going to be very few people that you're going to meet for a lifetime. But there's always going to be people that you're going to meet in this industry for a reason or a season. And sometimes you have to go through those things. And it's going to hurt sometimes. And sometimes it's going to fill you with unbelievable amounts of joy because you impacted somebody in a positive way, or they taught you a very valuable lesson. The person and the one that you can trust the most is yourself. That's what I would say. You can really only rely on yourself. When you start to get down on yourself, that's the worst possible thing that you can do. And everybody's guilty of that. But sometimes we have to be reminded that that's not the way to do. That's not the way to be. That's not the way to go. Don't get down on yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be you. It's going to be you to be able to defend yourself. It's going to be you to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. And it's going to be you who gets back up when you've been knocked down. Now, I've been knocked down quite a few times. There's been quite a few times when I've gone through situations, and I would tell myself, you're going to go through situations with people, with auditors, with supervisors, and it's all about building that inner strength and getting right back up. And I would have to say that I'm proud for getting back up all those times that I did, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here. And I would say also that studying is still important. It's still important as you leave school. It's still important as you get confident, because even as you get confident in what you do, you're still going to have to go back and remind yourself of things, because it's really easy to forget. And it's really easy to start getting settled into old habits and things that, it works. It works for this area that I'm in. It works for this facility that I work at. It should work everywhere. No. It doesn't always work everywhere. So you always have to make sure that you maintain the knowledge that you need. And that means going over your guidelines when they come out every year, at least once. Which is something I didn't do in the beginning because I didn't think that it was that important. But it is. Which is why I always tell my audience now why it is important. I would also say that it's important to know why you're there, what your purpose is. When the times get tough, what is your purpose for being in this position as a medical coder? And I would remind myself of that. That it's not about your coworkers, it's not about your boss, it's not about anybody else. It's about your providers. That's why you're there. Remind yourself that that is why you're there. It's not about your coworkers, because that can be a distraction, and that's all that is a lot of times. because sometimes people don't know how to handle it when there is others out there that want to help, or that they start to excel. They don't know how to handle that. You're going to find that in this industry. So you have to look at what your purpose is. And for me, once I understood that purpose, that my purpose was for my providers, my life got a whole lot easier. Way less dramatic. It did. And I enjoy that now. And so, you know, those are the things that I would say are most important. And cultivating yourself as a strong medical coder takes discipline, it takes commitment, and this is not something that you can just take lightly. And of course, I never took it lightly the whole time, because as I say, and I say this many times, we have to know what doctors know while never having gone to medical school. There is no truer saying about us medical coders than that. Other than if it's not documented, it didn't happen. But, you know, always think outside the box. I would tell myself that. Always think outside of the box. Once I started giving myself permission to think outside the box and start doing things like the bear trap or the candy basket, and once I got creative with all of these things that my approaches to giving classes to providers, and taking the bull by the horns and being like, yeah, I'm going to run my class this way, or I'm going to go ahead and do this. That is what gave me that freedom. That's what gave me more confidence. And I would tell myself that. Do that. Be creative. Look for those ways that's creative. Let people know how important these things are. And when your providers do something right, let them know. And when your providers are doing something wrong, work with them. It's not personal. They're not doing it to do anything against you, but it is about educating them. And they're people too. Don't be scared of them. That's what I would tell myself, because I was so scared of providers in the beginning. Believe it or not. I didn't know how important those relationships would be. And everybody is paying attention to what you do. They're looking at your work ethic. They're looking at the things that you do in your knowledge base, what you're bringing to the table. It is important to show all of that. It's important to be on your P's and Q's all the time, because when you are, that's when people are really going to sit up and take notice. And that took me years to understand. You know, I've always had a strong work ethic, but I never thought that people were paying attention to that. And it wasn't until I learned that yeah, they are. They are paying attention to that. They are paying attention to me when I am doing those things. So it's so important and very, very key to what we do. I would say that. I would say enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey as much as you can, because you're in it for the long haul. This is not a sprint. This is absolutely a marathon. And it's endurance. But if you put energy into it, it will sustain you. It will give you those challenges. It will give you this thing to look forward to every day if you let it. And when you start to enjoy it, you're not working anymore. And that's always the goal, right? It's the goal when you are starting out in a career is this going to be something where you don't feel like you're working? And for me, I don't feel like that. I haven't felt like this since 2014. So when I had my aha moment in 2014, and that changed everything. And knowing that that's okay to have that kind of feeling, that's a good thing. I don't have to get permission. I can just go into that experience. And that's what I would say. And that's my advice to my new medical coder self. I would also want to wrap up a couple questions I did get from a viewer. In the early part of this series, I talked about the very first supervisor that I had at this third position that I'm in. Her name was Laura. And she had asked, was Laura ever my boss? Laura was my boss for about a year before she moved on. She is in the top 2 of supervisors I've ever had. Jessica being the very first, I would say, is the best supervisor I've ever had, and Laura being right there with her. Because of these 2 ladies, I have learned so much about coding. Through Jessica, I've learned the art of research. I've learned the art of communication. And even though she would disagree, she would say, oh no, I don't. She does. She taught me so much, and I appreciate and love her for that forever. For Laura, she taught me the importance of standing up for myself and speaking up, because she says when you don't speak up, nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to know what you're thinking. Nobody's going to know what you need or what you want. So you have to speak up. And because of her, I learned that. She saw me through a very difficult time personally, and she was patient enough with me as a supervisor, and I will never forget that. I have gone to her in counsel for a couple of times after she left, because she still works in the hospital. She's just in a very higher position now. Very high position. And I have sought her out a couple of times and asked for her counsel and advice, and she has been gracious both times, you know. She's helped me out when I needed it, when I was under a lot of pressure with a boss who was micromanaging. She stepped in and talked to her and got her to kind of like, hey, you need to ease up a little bit. So it's good when you have somebody that knows how to reach out to others and talk on your behalf as well, because when you've done all you can do, sometimes it's good to be able to reach out and find somebody that can help you, a mentor or somebody. And Laura is definitely somebody that I would consider a mentor and somebody who has been a wonderful influence in my career. So, but yes, what does the future hold for me? The future for me is, of course, getting bigger on YouTube. Showing all the things, the talents that I have as far as like teaching, and not just teaching for providers, but medical coders as well. That is a strong goal that I have for my future, and there's a lot of other things that I want to do, but those are some of the big things. And I think doing those things is more career fulfillment for me. Obviously, there's a lot more specialty things that I'm going to go after. Some programs that I have been in, and so I'm looking forward to the completion of those programs. I'm looking forward to the goal line in those programs, but one thing at a time. I do keep a lot of my goals to myself, because as I have learned through the years, it is better to do that. It's better to move in silence, because that way you don't have the distraction. And I will tell my audience some things, but I don't tell you guys everything. So I leave some things as a surprise. So, but that's okay. You know, it's okay to keep some things to yourself. It's okay to do that. So, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that you'll hit that like button. Share this if you found it entertaining. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see y'all on the next episode. Bye.